Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis prepare to enter negotiations.
Gervonta Davis has now clearly indicated that Shakur Stevenson is the opponent he wants next, setting up a high-stakes clash between two elite southpaws. With other possibilities starting to fall away, these two names are now taking center stage as the fight everyone is watching closely.
Shakur Stevenson is that difficult because of his style, because of his abilities, because of his eyes, because of his, his legs, that his hand speed, the way that he controls range. Tank Davis is the only guy that I can see that could possibly decipher that style and beat Shakur
Stevenson. A lot of people been talking about him and whether or not you're going to fight him down the road. What do you see in terms of in the ring, who you'll go up against, assuming you win Saturday night, which most people assume will happen, okay? Who do you see yourself as a big fight going up against, the marquee fight for you?
To be honest, all them guys, I would say it's not no, specific name that I would say that's good for me. I feel like me sharing the ring with all them guys would be big, so hopefully, in the future, probably we get them.
More than a year after returning to the ring, the Baltimore star reminded everyone exactly why he remains one of the sport's biggest attractions, with a dominant victory over Frank Martin at the MGM Grand. Having carried a version of the lightweight title since 2019, the focus quickly shifted towards something bigger, a unification showdown. Naturally, names like Vasily Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson, along with other top contenders, moved into the spotlight. For a period, it looked like the Lomachenko fight was gaining real momentum, and fans started to believe it was finally close to becoming reality. Then, just as things were building, everything suddenly stalled as reports revealed Lomachenko stepped away for personal reasons, leaving the division uncertain. That disappointment did not last long, because attention quickly turned to Stevenson, and the idea of Davis versus Shakur began to feel more real than ever. Reports suggested both sides were showing positive signals, with public comments hinting at genuine interest in making the fight next. Adding even more intrigue is their shared history, as the two have reportedly spent plenty of time sparring over the years, including a memorable long session back in 2017. That familiarity only builds anticipation for a matchup fans have been demanding for a long time. Even Davis's trainer Kenny Ellis has reportedly viewed Stevenson as the natural next move after the Lomachenko situation fell apart. On Stevenson's side, after successfully defending his title, he is now looking for the next big challenge. Any past sparring stories can easily be put aside if both teams are serious, because this is exactly the kind of fight the sport needs. Stevenson himself has called it one of the biggest fights boxing can make right now, expecting huge attention across the country. Fans also remember when Davis previously named Stevenson as a target, and now the timing finally seems to line up. From a stylistic point of view, it is a perfect clash, two elite fighters capable of forcing each other to constantly adjust inside the ring. The real issue is not whether the fight is exciting, because that is already clear, but whether the business side can actually make it happen, and that side matters more than ever now that Stevenson is a free agent. With his previous promotional deal behind him, any agreement with Davis would require detailed negotiations covering purses, broadcasting rights, sponsorship deals, and overall promotion. Those factors will ultimately decide if the fight becomes reality. The Lomachenko situation still lingers over the division, as well as Stevenson has shown interest in facing him, and depending on how things develop, Lomachenko could still return to the picture next year. For whoever ends up winning or losing, that could open another major opportunity. With Lomachenko's career possibly entering its final phase, any future fight involving him would carry serious legacy importance. Promoter Bob Arum has indicated that Lomachenko could return in 2025 after delaying earlier plans, though whether that includes a fight with Davis remains uncertain, as other major opportunities are still on the table. Some critics argue that if Lomachenko continues to pass on Davis, it could reignite debate about Tank's path through the division. There are claims that interest in the matchup has grown even more now that Lomachenko is older, leading some to question the timing, while others believe Davis's careful matchmaking has worked to a degree, but may have limited his overall growth outside of major moments like his fight with Ryan Garcia. Arum has also stated that Lomachenko has already secured his financial future, while Timothy Bradley has suggested that if he no longer feels competitive, retirement could be approaching. At the same time, that view does not fully account for the personal challenges Lomachenko faces outside the ring, especially with ongoing issues in his home country. Bradley acknowledged how much external pressure can affect a fighter's mindset and still praised Lomachenko's accomplishments regardless of what he decides next. Many continue to believe Lomachenko deserved to become undisputed in his bout with Devin Haney, and his impact on modern boxing remains undeniable. His technical brilliance continues to influence fighters, while others like Davis bring excitement through raw power and knockout ability. In the end, the division is filled with possibilities, but the biggest question still remains which of these long-discussed matchups will actually come to life.
On it earlier, like you said, duck, that he ducked. You know, I thought about it, and I'm thinking like, you know, I was hard on Fury when the negotiations kind of fell through with Usyk. So I gotta stay, you know, neutral across the board, man. I gotta be fair across the board. You know, you want to call this a duck? It's a duck. There's no doubt about it. It's literally a duck. But I think it's something deeper, man. And I keep saying that, but because Loma's the type of guy that don't duck any smoke. However, when I look at him and how he's been behaving as of late, I think about the fact that this isn't one time, this is twice now. Shakur Stevenson, I believe, Shakur Stevenson was a part of, you know, Top Rank at Loma. Shakur wanted that fight. You know, there was no way that Top Rank was on. I guess they couldn't. Loma said he didn't want the fight. You know, pretty much said it. You know, I didn't want the fight right now. So not only did he duck Shakur, he also ducked Tank. I think Loma knows that.
Shakur in the ring with Tank when he was young. And Tank said to me like, yo, this joker trying to get me. I said, that's how them young stunners is when they see a legend.
But Tank's a special talent. Shakur's a special talent.
Devin Dad said that. You know, he's an animal. You know what I'm saying? So
he is an animal, but you need that in boxing if you want to win. 25-0, 24 knockouts is not a mistake.
You notice the stare down? Tank wasn't really trying to get you all.
You were up there. Tell me from your perspective, what happened up there?
No, it wasn't disrespectful. I told him
the stare down was 3 minutes.
No, because Pitt wasn't break, so I told Tank don't break. That's how I get down. He ain't break. Then the guy kept telling Tank, you tell him to stop. You know what I'm saying? So if you won't break it, break them both up. You know what I'm saying? That is, look, so Tank just went on, turned around and put his hands up. Pitbull was right there. He's short. Wasn't cursed. You know what I'm saying? You touch Tank, Tank can push you off.
Tank gave a little nudge, a little push, and he let him know it's business.
No, it's business. At the end of the day, he know how we get down.
Who won the first round, Calvin? Because Pitbull Cruz told me he's up 1-0 right now.
I can't tell. I don't.
No, he called that like round 1.
That wasn't round 1. Where was that?
No, the weigh-in.
The weigh-in, they both weighed in the same. They both made weight. They both stirred down. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in that. I like to see when them punches start flowing. When them joints start coming out.
Timothy Bradley also noted that Vasily Lomachenko, now in his mid-30s, might seriously be thinking about walking away from the sport despite what people on the outside believe. Fighters know their own limits better than anyone, and he feels Lomachenko could be trying to avoid taking damage late in his career. He pointed to the Kambosos fight as a smart decision, one that gave him a real shot at a title while setting up the chance to leave the sport on a high note. From that angle, this could represent the closing chapter of Lomachenko's journey. At the same time, with Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis both continuing to rise, their clash has always seemed destined to happen. What caught many off guard is how fast that possibility started gaining real traction. Once Lomachenko stepped away from immediate plans, Davis's team began looking at other options, and Stevenson quickly became the frontrunner. Interestingly, after previously taking shots at Lomachenko, team Davis shifted its tone and began speaking more favorably about Stevenson, which only added to the growing hype. Shakur wasted no time embracing the moment, staying true to his confident mindset and making it clear he is ready whenever the opportunity comes. That response only pushed the excitement even higher, because this is not just another major fight, it has all the elements of a true mega event. Two undefeated fighters, both in their prime, both riding momentum, possibly stepping into the ring together. Their history in sparring adds another layer, because neither man would be facing the unknown. They already understand each other's strengths, which raises the stakes even more. For Stevenson, this could be the defining test of his career, as facing Davis would be his biggest challenge so far. Not long ago, Terence Crawford publicly encouraged Stevenson to take on top-level opponents and prove his greatness. At just 27, Stevenson still has time, but Crawford believes he is ready right now. He has advised him to stay active, keep building his profile, and go after the biggest fights available. In Crawford's view, a fight with Davis would answer every question. At this moment, there may be no bigger opportunity for Stevenson than this. Both fighters remain undefeated, both are performing at an elite level, and the anticipation alone makes the matchup special. Stevenson's team has already made it clear they are ready to enter negotiations for a unification bout, and the only thing left is reaching terms that satisfy both sides. According to his management, the next move now depends on Davis's team, as Stevenson is open to facing anyone and ready for discussions at any time. His free agent status gives him more freedom than ever, allowing him to chase the biggest fights in the lightweight division. Reports suggest early talks may have already happened, though nothing has been made public. What is certain is that if the financial side lines up, this fight can become reality. Stevenson's camp believes his recent performances prove his worth, and they expect any agreement to reflect that. His main goal is simple: to unify the division by facing the very best. His team has also suggested that past promotional ties may have blocked key opportunities, but those obstacles are no longer in the way. From their perspective, the real issue is not finding opponents but getting others to accept the challenge. Even so, they remain patient and confident that everything is leading toward a showdown with Davis. A fight like that would bring together two unbeaten champions at the peak of their powers, supported by massive fan interest and strong attention online. Davis has already proven he can draw huge numbers, while Stevenson would have the chance to silence critics who question his style. In the end, everything points to one outcome: if the business side is handled, this is the fight that will define the division.